COVID economic recovery and resources Zoom call that we've been holding since this all began. We're delighted to have you back with us today as we all contemplate Memorial Day weekend. This week, like the past 8 weeks, we hear from city, state, and federal resources. This call is being recorded and will be posted on the Chamber's COVID Recovery Resources page at metrosouthchamber.com. We ask you to post all questions you may have in the Q&A section down below, as we have in the past, and you'll see that just in the bottom there. I want to thank Susan Whitaker and Margaret LaForest from the Mass Office of Business Development and Susan Laurie from the Small Business Administration for their help with answering the questions that are being asked today. I also want to thank our partners who have been promoting these weekly calls. They include, and the list is extensive, so please bear with me. These are all partners of ours and some affiliates. The Avon Industrial Park Association, the Bridgewater Business Association, the Brockton Area NAACP, the Campello Business Association, the Cape Verdean Association, the Eastern Chamber of Commerce, the East Bridgewater Business Association, the Haitians United, the Massachusetts Small Business Development Centers, Norwell Chamber of Commerce, the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce, the Randolph Chamber of Commerce, the South Shore Women's Business Network, and the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce. So I want to thank all of them for promoting these and posting our resources to their pages as well. In addition to the updates we received from the mayor and SBA, we will celebrate 2 extraordinary businesses today. As I have mentioned previously, this month of May is Small Business Month, and this week the Chamber, along with Bank of America, were planning an extensive celebration to hold the 29th Annual Small Business Awards. Although COVID-19 has caused us to pivot to Zoom, we are delighted to recognize an entrepreneurial couple who have combined their experience and their education to start a business founded on wellness and now producing very tasty returns. As we head into Memorial Day weekend, we are equally pleased to be recognizing a career U.S. Army veteran and former Homeland Security officer who is awash in success with the business he began a few short years ago while he was transitioning to civilian life. In honor of our great country and the stories of these successful businesses we recognize today, it is a pleasure to have a business consultant and talented vocalist, our own voice winner, if you will, Nikki Lee Draves with us to sing the national anthem. I'm going to ask Nikki as we look ahead to Memorial Day to sing the national anthem and kick off this meeting. Nikki?
Oh, say, can you see right on the early light what so proudly we last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say us that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the hope of the brave. I apologize for messing up the lyrics, you guys.
Thank you, Nikki. You're wonderful. And thank you for being with us today and singing the national anthem. And thank you, Jeff, for posting the American flag. It's great to see you've got one on your house, as I do and many of us do, flying proudly this Memorial Day weekend. It's now my pleasure to introduce the mayor of Brockton, Attorney Robert Sullivan. He was born and raised in Brockton. He earned his BA and MBA at Boston College and his JD at the New England School of Law. Prior to being elected, he served as Brockton City Councilor as Councilor at Large since 2006. In this role, he was elected by his colleagues to serve as the City Council President 5 times. He is married to Maria Louise Sullivan, who also grew up in Brockton, and they have 3 children in the city. Mayor, welcome, and to our 9th week of this. It's a little bit different than the last few weeks, but please tell us what's going on with the city.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chris and Nikki. That was beautiful. Thank you. In light of Memorial Day coming up on Monday, I was just with Congressman Lynch at the VA hospital, and we were social distancing, wearing masks, but just taking the time to reflect and thank those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. So that was a great rendition. Thank you, Nikki, and great to see the secretary He's been a great supporter with Governor Baker and, of course, Lieutenant Governor Polito. Great ally, great partner here in the city of Brockton. It was great to see you, Secretary. And I know President Clark's on, and Fred's, Fred was born in the city of champions. I always remind people that. So even though he lives in a neighboring community known as Easton, he's a Brocktonian through and through. So most difficult part of my job, Chris, and you and I have talked about this many times, is at 4 o'clock. I get an update on a regular basis every single day. And it's the loss of life impacted by COVID-19 and people dealing with it and people that have dealt with it. So most recent information that I got yesterday, I can share with you now, 227 deaths, 227 Brocktonians have died because of this nasty, deadly virus. And our prayers and thoughts go to the departed and their surviving loved ones. 1,869 current cases, active positive cases of Brocktonians dealing with it. Good news about that, we're seeing recovery. We're up to 2,900 just a few days ago, really, last week. So we're actually hedging in the right direction. Total cases a little over 3,800, 3,806. So we're not through the woods yet. My medical expert, my consultant that I hired, Dr. Rick Herman. Again, Dr. Herman is the former chief of ER at both local hospitals, Brockton Hospital, Signature, and also Good Sam. And we've been participating on a regular basis to inform and educate and just keep reiterating, the healthy standards, and it's social distancing. We all know what we need to do, wear the masks. That's why the governor mandated it. So in terms of people, and the impact on people, that's kind of an update. But I will tell you that with the reopening, we need to practice all the precautions. Houses of worship, I had a 35 clergy member, pastor member Zoom yesterday to go over plans on what some Brockton churches and houses of worship are going to do, and all of them are really diligent on that. In terms of businesses, as I announced last week, and I'm really thrilled of the support, the city of Brockton through my office have collaborated with United Way, both United Way of Mass Bay and also Plymouth County, to create the Brockton Together Fund. And thanks to the United Way, they seeded it with $20,000 and National Grid another 10 grand. So that's going to be in short order some substantial money that we're going to be able to work out. For the last 8+ weeks, I've been saying I'm waiting for the feds to send me a contract. I'm waiting for the feds to send me a contract. The contract finally came, and that's the CDBG money of $841,000. So I signed that. We got it back within 5 minutes. And BRA, Brockton Redevelopment Authority, is going to be our agent. And as I expressed, Mr. Jenkins, Robert Jenkins, the director over there, and I will be working to figure out who's going to qualify, who's going to get those funds. My humble opinion is anybody that got funds from the PPP, either first round or second round, would not be priority under this. We want to make everything fair and reasonable. But at the end of the day, listen, Brockton's a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to work, and we're called the City of Champions for a reason, right? And we're going to champion together through this. And I do want to thank Chris Cooney and everybody at the Metro South Chamber of Commerce, and of course, President Fred Clark and his role as director of the board, and again, Mike Kennealy being on here today, and our friends in DC with SBA, because I'm getting regular calls every single week thanking me and everybody participating, from Susan to Margaret. So these are game changers, and we have to come together to figure out the financial ramifications. I'm very fearful about local aid being cut here in the city of Brockton. It could be catastrophic, but we've surrounded ourselves with quality people, skilled professionals, and we'll get through this. And I do want to thank our partners in the state that have helped us, DPH and NEMA, and of course, Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor, and the 3 state reps, Claire Cronin, Michelle Dubois, Jerry Cassidy, and Mike Brady from the Senate and City Council and School Committee. So I'm going to stay on the whole time. I don't have any conflicts today. I'm really proud of the people that are being awarded today, Chris. Thank you for what you do, and I'm going to sit here and listen and learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing, leadership you're providing. I know you're here and throughout the city every day. I talk with you quite often, and it's great to see how much you're doing in the community. I had a couple quick questions. There was a question about return to work. There was a provision in the state guidelines that talked about 25%, and a question on occupancy or number of employees, the distinction. And my understanding is that it's based on occupancy of the building, not 25% of your staff. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the way we've interpreted it, and I can tell you the pastors have interpreted it's 40% of their population in terms of occupancy. And we had a conversation just the other day with some local businesses. Here in the city hall, again, we don't have an exemption, much like the feds in the state building. So we're doing the plan as well. We're doing it a little different here at City Hall. We're doing it per office, but the standard is total occupancy. So again, it's best practices. Again, people have to adhere to all the guidelines that the governor has spelled out. Some of them are daunting, but they're done in a manner that's protecting and saving lives. So that's the correct answer, Chris.
Thank you. And then one other quick one on the CDBG money. We've been kind of anticipating this. My understanding is of those funds, about $500,000 will be made available in grants, right? Not loans. And so is that 50 grants of about 10,000? That seems significant.
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to vet out, the hard numbers with Robert Jenkins and myself. I mean, we're going to make it so that it's a substantial amount that's going to really be beneficial. People right now are hurting. And as I said before, unfortunately, some businesses aren't going to recover. That's the whole genesis of this weekly call, economic and business recovery. So I can't tell you right now. I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I knew the hard number, because we're still trying to vet it out. We want to spread the wealth, but we want to really do it in a way that's going to have some meaningful impact to the businesses that really need it.
Seems like it'll really have an impact. It may save some businesses from going out, especially those that couldn't get into round one or two for whatever reason. Sometimes they're sole practitioners, so they didn't qualify for the PPP because they didn't have staff and such, so they didn't receive many funds. They may receive the EIDL, but because they were sold, they only got $1,000, which maybe isn't enough to carry them over. But it sounds like this money that is for Brockton businesses may be the game changer, as you say, for them. So that clarifies two points. Let's see. I think that was it. Well, thank you, Mayor, for being with us and staying on.
The only other thing, Chris, if I could, I just want to clarify, because it's some misinformation. I know there's been some enterprise and local newspapers talking about the county, Plymouth County, receiving funds, $90 million. I had written a letter. I thought that it should have been assigned back to the Commonwealth, but the county's decided to move forward. But there's a misinformation. People are thinking that money can be used for businesses and to stabilize the economy. It can only be used, it's very restrictive from the feds. It can only be used for COVID-19 municipality expenses. So if a town or a city spends money, we have to submit an invoice to get compensated back. So it is very, very rigid and stringent and lawfully guidelines. I just wanted to make that clear to some people. There was some confusion.
Great, thank you. We know Brockton has been hit harder than most other communities in the Commonwealth and even the nation by percentage-wise. Will we follow the state back to work rules, or like Boston, maybe be delayed a little bit because the peak hit here a little bit later?
So I have a call every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tonight I'll have one. It's led by Marty Walsh, Mayor of Boston. There's between 15 and 19 mayors, a couple town managers, Chelsea, Brockton, Boston. We have to take it slow. I can tell you that the hot spot of Brockton is real. And in terms of opening up, we are going to abide by the guidelines of the governor. But again, my curfew is still intact, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. My local emergency is still intact. Some of the parks and playgrounds are still closed. So to answer your question right now, we're working here with law department to try to figure out best practice, and we'll come to a conclusion, and it will be clearly sent out via messages.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to just pause right now, take a moment of silence, not only for our veterans, but for the 227 individuals and families that have lost loved ones in the city and surrounding community. Thank you very much. We're delighted to have with us Eli Spahu, who joined the U.S. Small Business Administration Massachusetts District Office in June of 2015. He brings a wealth of knowledge from the private sector, having worked for various banks, credit unions, and alternative lenders. Eli supervises the Capital Access Field Operations Team and is responsible for all small business administration lending activity in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He is the point of contact for over 150 SBA participating lenders in the state and charged with the task of expanding the network of lending institutions that offer SBA loan programs, which I think have expanded through this latest initiative. Eli provides lender training on various SBA topics and works closely with SBA's Office of Credit Risk Management on lender oversight and program compliance. Eli, we're delighted to have you back with us. I think you've been here almost all of the weeks, providing critical information on EIDL, PPP, the second phase, and everything in between. So thank you for being here once again. Can you give us a little bit of an update of what's going on and what the latest is? I understand there still is some money available in PPP.
Good afternoon, Chris, and thanks again for having us. Delighted to be here once again, and apologies for not attending last week's ritual, I guess. For the 9 weeks that you have held this webinar, I've been, me and my team and the entire SBA district office been working from home, so although my video doesn't work, I can guarantee you that my beard is longer than my hair today. So I do have some updates. I've got some really good news to share with everybody, and I'll be as brief as I can. So I added a picture of myself here without the beard for everyone to put the face and the name together. But for folks, just a quick reminder, there is still lots of money left in the phase 2 of the PPP funding. So round 2 of the PPP funding had about $310 billion. There's still over $100 billion available. And obviously, this program was available as of April 3rd. So truly impressive that we still have so much funding available, but some good news that I do want to share on both the PPP side and the economic injury disaster loan front. So without further ado, and I know we've got limited time today, but you can see here, this is data available as of the 16th of May. It combines both phases of the Paycheck Protection Loan Program. And again, it's a remarkable number of loan approvals and dollars approved. Over $500 billion is a lot of money to distribute and to disperse to the small businesses in the nation. Again, I've mentioned this many a times. We have over 170 local community banks, credit unions here in Massachusetts that are basically, working their hearts out, just trying their very best for small businesses, throughout the Commonwealth. Smaller institutions, less than $10 billion in assets, are still count for the majority of the loans approved. You can see it from this slide. Some of the mid-size institutions and the larger ones, obviously, are in the game. But here in Massachusetts, again, we've got over 560 lenders in total. 170 of them are Massachusetts-based. And you can truly see, and I've got a couple of slides a little later in the program that speak specifically to regional data. So this information, again, is not all that recent, but I do have something that's a little more recent. In here, some good news overall, right? So as of May 16th, average loan size was about $118,000. Loans under $50,000 are still the majority by units, okay? Not by dollars, only 10% of the overall funds on the PPP. But, 2.7 units, 2.7 million loan approvals is a lot of small businesses nationwide that are getting, federal assistance in this, very challenging time. In here, however, this is interesting, you guys. You'll see that the numbers, the approval dollars have gone down from the 16th to the 21st, and you'll wonder why. So just quickly, I'll make that clear. May 18th was the extended safe harbor date by which businesses could return. So some businesses that could not certify that they really had a need for paycheck protection loan funds. And we probably all have heard in the news, of some companies, publicly traded entities that shouldn't have gotten assistance, federal assistance. They refunded, their loans. And you can see here that the overall approvals dropped by $1 billion, but units, that number went up. Average loan size went down even further, and we've got 5,500 lenders, over 5,500 lenders participating in the program. Massachusetts, again, leading the way here in the New England region. About half of all approvals, both almost by units and dollars, are here in the Commonwealth. In addition, we have some data. I know a lot of you may have questions about the economic injury disaster loan. So we've got finally some good, statistics here and really great news for the state. So for the entire month of April, we had 827 loan approvals. And in May alone, we've had over 6,800 loan approvals. Wow. So the Office of Disaster Assistance is picking up pace. You can see here the units. This is approvals as of 5/18, but even in the last few days, we had over 800 approvals overnight. So there's over 6,800 loan approvals to date in Massachusetts on the economic disaster front. So truly impressive numbers. You can see the numbers up above are on the slide are national numbers. Not as large a program as the Paycheck Protection Loan Program, but nevertheless, the impact, is significant to those businesses that are getting this economic injury loan funds. So I know we don't have time for questions today, but quickly I wanted to share with folks a couple of very, important links and pages that everyone needs to be familiar with. So obviously for economic injury disaster loans, only agricultural businesses can apply currently, but there is a lot of new information for folks out there who have applied for Paycheck Protection Loan Program. There is information about the loan forgiveness. So at the bottom of this page on the right-hand side, you can see a link, and the chamber will share this presentation with everybody. So all these links are live. They'll take you to the right page. And the loan forgiveness application, which is Form 3508, was published over the weekend. There is a lot of guidance in there. It's an 11-page, application. We will, and I'm offering, to do a training for chamber members on how to complete this forgiveness loan application for folks that are ready to, to submit the loan forgiveness application. So another important page that I'd like to share is the Treasury website. So it is home.treasury.gov/cares. And in here, all the program rules are listed. And you can see here, all these links are also live as well. And there wasn't enough room in this page. There's that many new updates. There's something from the 20th that was posted on interim final rule that I could not add, onto this page. But again, Chris, thank you for having me. Greatly appreciated once again. And I think, I'll turn the mic back to you. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity for questions a little later.
Yeah, right. Eli, thanks so much for being with us again. And just a quick follow-up. I know, well, first of all, your generous offer to host that workshop for forgiveness would be really well welcomed here, and we'll coordinate that with you offline so we can get that scheduled. And that is one of the major areas we're getting questions from companies saying, how should I handle that money I have in my account? How should I account for it? And what risk do I have of having to give it back if I don't coordinate it properly? So thank you. We have had several banks, Rockland Trust, Envision, Eastern, Northeast Savings, the credit union, Crescent Credit Union, all have offered assistance with new PPP loans for new clients. So they've kind of worked through their existing client base. They've helped everybody they've needed, and they're willing to sit down with new clients that haven't used their services before and work them through that application process. So please take them up on that. I know you can't probably answer this, Eli, but a lot of companies are looking at that expansion of the June 30th. I saw some legislation in the Senate. Also, I think it's being entertained in the House to expand the PPP past June 30th so that some companies who return maybe in mid-June can actually be able to have 8 weeks of payroll to be forgiven. And so is there anything new on that, or we expect to hear anything else?
So nothing truly that I can share because it's obviously not, it's not official news. But one thing that I also passed Senate is the separation of the 7A loan program. I know we have some lenders on the call as well. So the 7A loan program was tied together with the PPP loan program. And if funding was exhausted before June 30th or on June 30th, the 7A loan program would no longer be available to small businesses. So Senate passed the bill that is separating the two funds and making 7A loan program available to everyone. Congress is going to have to take the bill, and I'm sure that, once that's passed, we will not have to worry about that part of it. But unfortunately, as I said, until we've got more concrete and official news, that's not something that I'd want to comment on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Maybe next week we'll have an update. I know we have U.S. Senator Ed Markey with us next Friday, as well as Speaker of the House, Bob DeLeo. So it's now my pleasure to welcome our MC for the awards portion of this program this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming Chairman of the Board, Fred Clark, President of Bridgewater State University. Fred, take it from here.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I want to thank you for your leadership in helping small business and business generally navigate through the storm. And we're really proud of your leadership, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Secretary, Mr. Mayor, our friend from the SBA, ladies and gentlemen, it's a true honor to participate in this very special awards program. Perhaps it's never been more important to recognize the role that American small businesses play in our democracy. We know strong and healthy small businesses are the backbone of our economy. This is why, despite the virus, we celebrate the success of the entrepreneur and Small Business of the Year in recognition of all that they add to our community. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy created the National Small Business Week to honor small business owners and recognize the value small businesses bring to America. Through the years, Small Business Week has evolved into Small Business Month, an opportunity to honor individuals whose impact extends far beyond their reach, touching the lives of their peers, their families, their successors, and inspiring the minds of budding entrepreneurs everywhere. Our award recipients will join a long list of triumphant business people and entrepreneurs who utilize their ingenuity to adapt to changing economic and social climates, not only to survive, but to thrive in this environment. When I think about the businesses in this region, I am truly amazed at the diversity, the education, the skills, the experiences of the people behind these enterprises. Their stories are so varied and always fascinating. Oftentimes, the success of many small businesses is made possible by those who believe in them. Bank of America is a bank that believes in many small businesses. It is what helped grow that bank from making loans to underserved immigrants to becoming the second largest bank in America with more than $2 trillion in assets in 2,500 locations. Bank of America now serves 3 million small businesses and employs more than 200,000 people. We are really happy and honored to have with us today our longstanding Small Business Awards sponsor, Chamber Director, Paul Angonetti, Senior Vice President with Bank of America, to introduce our keynote speaker. Paul.
Well, thank you, Fred, and good afternoon, everyone. I would never have imagined we'd be holding this event on Zoom, conference lines, working from home and working remotely for the past couple of months. It's really been, it's been called unprecedented. It's really been an amazing couple of months and challenging on so many levels. Certainly the resilience of local business owners has never been greater. And so for me and my team, working locally with business owners in all industries, it's been a remarkable couple of months, and remarkable in the sense that never, ever have I seen more courage, determination, commitment, passion, and perseverance than I have in the past couple of months from our business owners. And so on behalf of all of my team, our associates at Bank of America, couldn't be prouder to be celebrating and honoring local business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders in the community today. I'd like to congratulate all of the nominees and award winners, and in particular want to thank every single business owner out there for all that you do. You certainly are the heart and soul of our community, our economy, and we're all behind you. We've been using an expression on my team, all in this together. You'll be happy to know our bank took a lead role in the payroll protection program, and we funded over 300,000 applications for $26 billion. So certainly a major portion of that program we access through and help clients on so many levels. It's now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker and special guest, Head of Housing and Economic Development for the state of Massachusetts, Mike Kennealy. Mike, I imagine you've never been busier the past couple of months, and in your role, working directly with Governor Charlie Baker, focused on so many things that impact the residents and the business owners of our community. Advancing economic opportunity, fostering collaborative leadership in communities, job creation, business growth, housing, and an overall improved business climate, among many other things we know you're focused on. Most importantly, Mike Kennealy was tapped by Governor Charlie Baker to help with the state response to COVID-19. So certainly that's been, I'm imagining, front and center, full-time, round-the-clock work. Mr. Kennealy and his family live in Lexington, Mass. He's involved in town government, education, and youth sports, serves on a number of boards, holds a degree in government from Dartmouth College, and an MBA from Harvard Business School. Mr. Kennealy, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Oh, Paul, thank you so much. It's great to be with you. Great, as always, to see the mayor. Great to see you, Chris, as well, and President Clark. I really appreciate the chance to come and speak with you today. I think I want to pick up with some of the comments that Paul and President Clark made around the vital importance of small business as the backbone of our economy, and in so many ways, the backbone of our communities. And, you know, it's tough to build a business. In normal times, it requires incredible vision and toughness and perseverance. But in this unbelievably unprecedented time, those traits are even more required. And it has been inspiring to watch our business leaders attempt to deal with the current circumstances, to continue to operate their companies under very challenging circumstances. And we know the toll this has taken. And we've endeavored to be as supportive as we can for our companies of all sizes, and perhaps in particular our small businesses. I will say that the mayor, we talked about collaborative leadership in communities as one of the cornerstones of how we view our work. And the mayor has just been a terrific partner for us on so many efforts. And I look forward to someday, hopefully not too far off, paying another visit down to Brockton when times perhaps return to more normal times. Look, the toll here in Massachusetts has just been awful. We are the third hardest hit state of any state in the country in terms of the impact of the pandemic. And we have endeavored as an administration now for some time to really apply all the resources, all the capabilities of state government to combat the virus and its impacts on the Commonwealth. And as Paul alluded to, this truly has been sort of 24/7, all hands on deck work, as all of us across state government have endeavored to do what we can to limit the impact of the virus. It has been, it's certainly taken a toll on our people, on our communities, on our companies. But we do hope that better days are ahead. And that's why we're talking now about reopening. I also want to acknowledge our friends in the SBA and the Mass Office of Business Development. There's been a really, truly unprecedented level of support that's come up for our small businesses in terms of literally billions of dollars of financing and also on the ground technical assistance. I know through our Mass Growth Capital Corporation, they've stood up a broad-based technical assistance effort with now 40 providers of such help across the state. And so we, as always, will seek to provide or facilitate capital to our companies as well as the hands-on assistance they need to continue to operate. And I do want to applaud the banks in Massachusetts that have really rallied to the cause in the SBA. This Paycheck Protection Program is just an incredible level of volume of SBA loans. I think by my calculation, it was about 30 years of loans in about 3 weeks at one point. And so it took a lot of effort on behalf of the banks and the SBA to facilitate that level of volume and get capital into the hands of our companies. And so all those folks are to be applauded for their efforts during this critical time. I thought what I might do is talk a little bit about the reopening strategy. And as Paul mentioned, I was honored by the governor to be tasked to co-chair with the lieutenant governor our reopening advisory board. We had a very busy 3 weeks. The governor announced the board be 4 weeks ago on Monday with a task of delivering a strategy in 3 weeks, which we did on Monday of this week. So a very, very busy period of time. We had 17 people on the board, 3 folks who are municipal leaders, 3 from the healthcare industry, and 11 representing a variety of businesses around the state. And a good level of insight, experience, and diversity on the board with respect to the sectors represented, to the regions represented. And the thought was to work with this relatively small board and get a lot of input from many different players around the state. And so we heard from 75 different business associations, labor groups, community groups, and others. Those groups represent about 112,000 companies, about 2 million employees. We also got 4,600 pieces of written feedback from other folks around the state. We held 45 hours of Zoom calls with a variety of stakeholders. We got a lot of input on our reopening strategy. And we're so grateful for the folks that served on our board and the people that came to speak to us. And I will say it's just a great example of people, again, my comments, similar to my comments about the banks and the SBA, a great example of people rallying to the cause and wanting to share their best thinking with us about how we can develop and execute on as safe as possible reopening strategy. You know, the thought here on reopening is that we need to have a phased approach, and it's got to be driven by healthcare indicators. It still remains a very challenging time with respect to where we are on the virus. We've been tracking this data now for some time. Our COVID command center reports on the data points daily, and we are starting to see some positive trends, but it remains a time where folks really need to be careful. Hence the idea of a phased strategy. We gradually open up sectors of the economy, in our case, in 4 phases, and hopefully progress at some point soon back to what we're calling the new normal. But we got to be careful. And so we're delighted now to be at a stage where we can be reopening, but we all have to be careful in that regard. And so the strategy is predicated on 4 phases. It's driven by the careful monitoring and reporting of public health data. and a thoughtful strategy, we hope, around which businesses will open in each phase, with a focus in particular in phase one on businesses that really don't have a lot of contact with the public. There's a couple exceptions to that, but really trying to focus on businesses where the contact intensity is low and therefore the public health risk is low as well. And then gradually, as we continue to fight the virus, open up other sectors of the economy. Those, I think, are the two big themes of where we are now, going back to work, but also continuing to fight the virus. And there's things we can all do in that regard. And one thing we tried to show in our report was this idea of shared responsibility. There's things we all can do during this reopening phase to try to keep us all as safe as possible. There's the guidance we provided to all citizens of the Commonwealth about covering your face and hand washing and maintaining distance, keeping gathering sizes low. This is what we call the social guidance, and it pertains to all of us as we interact and move around the Commonwealth. There's clear guidance to employers as they open their workplaces. What are the standards and protocols they should meet to make sure that people can go back to work as safely as possible? There's guidance for employees as well. There's also a clear delineation of the responsibilities of government and the healthcare system. But it's a moment in time, as it has been throughout this pandemic. We all need to work together. We all need to fulfill our shared responsibilities. And if we do so, we hope we can move on from a phase one into phase two and beyond. But we're still very much in this mode of we're heading back to work in some regard, but also very much in the fight against the virus. Going through this, and probably the most important piece of content, of context here I can offer, is that we are all doing this for the first time. It never before has been contemplated that we're going to shut down huge parts of our economy and then seek to reopen them. And so it's going to be very important for all of us that we maintain open lines of communication and we can understand what's happening in all of our communities. And that'll be very important feedback for us as we move forward with our plan. I do want to highlight one other area about people rallying to the cause. We recognize that businesses will need more supplies to go back to work, cleaning supplies, hygienic supplies, in some cases, personal protective equipment. And we stood up an effort now a couple months ago to help manufacturers come forward who wanted to repurpose their production lines and produce more of these needed supplies. And I think when the governor first announced this effort, he used the word inspiring. And it has been inspiring to watch so many companies come and rally to the cause. We now have over 400 manufacturers in Massachusetts that have said they want to transition their production lines from making whatever line of business they were in now to start producing things like masks and gowns and other products that are so essential both for our frontline, our first responders and healthcare workers, as well as companies now in many different industries. And we've had now 27 companies make it all the way through this process and produce about 3.5 million pieces of such equipment. So it's been a wonderful experience to watch again, people stepping up and doing what they can to fight the pandemic. I encourage you to take a look at our report, to go on our mass.gov reopening website. There's a lot of information there. You'll see the report, which is our strategy for reopening. And there's a lot of helpful content for businesses. And the idea here is to make this, to communicate as clearly and simply as we can. And so for each industry as it reopens, there's a well-defined set of industry protocols and safety standards. And we tried to make this really as simple as possible with easy to use checklists and posters and other means by which businesses can understand what the standards are and adhere to them. So we're entering now a new chapter. We entered a new chapter this past Monday of starting to reopen. And again, it's incumbent on all of us to do what we can to return to work safely, to continue to do what we can to fight the virus. We all have shared responsibility in this, and we all need to work together. Great to be with you today. Congratulations to the award winners. And I do hope in the not too distant future, we can do something like this in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. It's good to see you. And by the way, you have a great radio voice. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that.
Oh, thank you.
And we want to thank you for all your leadership regarding the reopening board and the plan. I've been through the plan numerous times. It's terrific. It's a great guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Secretary, I just want to jump in for one follow-up because we're getting a lot of questions from our small business owners relative to the plan that has to be in place before they open. I just wanted to underline how rich the resources that you created with your team. That includes the posters, the checklist, and really kind of gives you a boilerplate of what you need to have in a plan. I think today We printed all the posters, put them out our doors. Very, very, very helpful. So we're trying to spread the word on that, make people aware of that. We'll be sending out an email directly. My question is, folks are wondering, what do I do with that plan? Am I supposed to file it with the Board of Health? Am I supposed to give it to the state? What do I do with it?
Yeah, great question, Chris. The answer to that question is no. The idea is to have a self-attestation process where the employer can download all the forms, and I'm glad to hear you've done that and you found them easy to use. That was our objective. To use those forms, develop their plan, and have the plan on site, and then have the posters around the workplace to communicate to employees and customers and visitors what the employer is doing to keep safe. But there's no need to file it with us or file it with the municipality. And that was really, that was a protocol developed in partnership with our municipal leaders who thought they'd be overloaded by applications and businesses and didn't want to have a formulation here where they've got to go inspect businesses proactively. The thought here was people really will, I think by and large, do the right thing. If we give them the right level of guidance, we can make that easy to do. So that's the idea. They should download the forms, develop their plan, have that on site. And if anyone did come and a local Board of Health, a representative or someone come in to inspect, they have the plan on site to tell that person what they're doing. And I will say with the posters, I think part of this, particularly as we get into phase 2 and beyond with our more customer facing businesses, I think a big part of the mission here is instilling confidence back in the consumer so that people walk into a retail store or a restaurant or hotel and they can see the communication. They understand that what that business manager or owner is doing to try to make the place as safe as possible. So I think this whole idea of having people confident, and for that matter, by the way, having the employees feel confident to return to the workplace. So that's a big part of the mission here as well.
So last question, on the supplies and suppliers that you guys have verified and posted, I know many small businesses are saying they're having a hard time finding cleaning products and the items that are required to reopen. I haven't looked at this piece of it. Are there links on the site that allow you to go to local vendors to order those pieces? And the reason I bring it up is because W. Mason, I know, has some product, but they're sold out of others. And we've been kind of going there, but they're now running out of some stuff.
Yeah, it's a good question, Chris. So we heard in all of our interactions with the business groups, and by the way, we had the NFIB come in, we had the retailers come in, the restaurants. We really had the voice of small business represented in our deliberations, and that's just so important we do so. But we heard a lot about the need for more guidance on supplies. What supplies do you need? And secondly, how can we find them? And so we tried to address that on our website with some educational materials to help people understand what they think they need, and trying to be clear about some areas that I thought needed some more clarity. For example, we don't think medical grade face coverings are required for most workplaces. Those are really for our healthcare workers and our first responders. So trying to be clear about what is needed, first of all. And secondly, we have this online portal where companies can go on and find vendors for those supplies. And it's a long list of vendors. We hope that's going to be fruitful for people. We certainly, as we go, will want to understand, where the gaps may be, if there are any gaps. But that was our approach on the supplies: provide the materials to help folks understand what they need, and then provide an avenue for them to find vendors of those supplies.
Great, thank you for your leadership. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Mr. Secretary. We're going to move to our awards section, and today the Chamber and Bank of America are pleased to celebrate business achievement with a presentation of the 2020 Entrepreneur and Small Business of the Year Awards. We want to thank all of those that submitted nominations for these awards. We had very strong candidates this year, making the decision even more difficult. The nominating committee looked for companies that balance success with a commitment to the community. Each nominee is rated based on 5 criteria. The first, number of employees; 2, staying power; 3, growth; 4, social responsibility; and 5, innovation in their process and or product. Meeting all of these criteria, as you can imagine, is a significant accomplishment and very difficult. The Entrepreneur of the Year Award recognizes innovative individuals whose businesses have grown through their commitment to their customers, their product, their process, and their community. The Metro South Chamber and Bank of America Small Business Services are pleased to present the 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year Award to Empower Nutrition. We can applaud that, I think, even virtually. All right, and let's hear a little bit about our winner. Francois and Irami Diata launched Empower Nutrition, a health shake and tea bar, in late October. After immigrating to the United States and graduating from Wheaton College, They began this journey as online wellness coaches where they focused on guiding people to adopt a healthy, active lifestyle through various weight loss challenges and get fit camps. Through this work, they became inspired to bring similar programming to Brockton, where they could create a space that felt safe, welcoming, and comfortable for all their guests. In a recent news article, Urami was quoted as saying that Brockton has given us a lot. So we see also this is a way of giving back to our community. We're not just pouring shakes, we're pouring love into people's lives, and seeing them smiling and happy is our #1 objective. We want people to feel good about Brockton and about themselves, end quote. Empower Nutrition offers over 87 gourmet smoothies and energizing teas. Many drinks are custom made and then added to the regular menu. To promote their new business, they networked with local businesses by providing them with complimentary tea samples. They also focused on social media and provided discount coupons redeemable at Empower Nutrition. This has helped their business grow tremendously, tripling the number of customers they're serving each day. They believe that community matters, and that's why they prioritize giving back. Since opening their doors in October of 2019, they've sponsored numerous charitable campaigns, including one providing energizing and immunity teas delivered to frontline workers, such as doctors, nurses, grocery workers, police, and firefighters during the corona outbreak. They also try to uplift the community by hosting events like Teacher Appreciation Day and by offering college students discount for healthy combination drinks. They also look for ways to support and lift up the community. They have plans to open a second location in the fall and a sister location opening in Lakeville called Marathon Nutrition at the end of June. Marathon Nutrition will be managed by one of their amazing independent wellness coaches. The Metro South Chamber and Bank of America are very proud to announce Empower Nutrition of Brockton as the 2020 Entrepreneur of the Year. So Urami and Francois, congratulations. I know that award was previously delivered to you. Could you show it to us? Do you have it right there?
Yes.
There it is. Let's see. There it is. Awesome. And we would invite you to say a few words if you would like.
We're really excited and grateful for this award, and we're also happy to see that the community is watching what we're doing. And it's been hard the past couple of weeks, but we're just showing up every day, just doing our best, trying to find new and creative ways to help our customers feel appreciated, help our community, with having something to look forward to. A lot of our customers thank us that we're still open because we provide them a sense of normalcy in their routine, so they know that we're not closed, that we can provide them that same routine, the healthy options every single day. So we're super happy to be here and to work hard to remain open for our community as well.
Wonderful. Congratulations. We're all very proud of you. I hope you can see the pride on the mayor's face and the secretary's face and all of us at the same time. Well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we move on to the Small Business of the Year Award, which recognizes business leadership, which has fostered company growth and created new jobs while contributing to the community. The 2020 Small Business of the Year Award is presented to South Shore Soft Wash, LLC. Where are you? There's Jeff. Jeff, put your hand up. There he is. Congratulations, Jeff.
Hello.
Our owner, Jeff Newman, is a retired U.S. Army major, a former Homeland Security officer, and a successful business owner. Jeff opened the South Shore Soft Wash 6 years shy of his planned retirement date from the Department of Homeland Security. In his time with Homeland Security, Jeff deployed to many national emergencies and is honored and humbled to have been a first responder to the attack on New York City's Twin Towers on 9/11, and was also activated to security operations as a result of the marathon bombing in Boston. Jeff's drive to be an entrepreneur took hold in 2013 when he established South Shore Soft Wash, a part-time venture he launched on the weekends and in between the requirements of his Department of Homeland Security responsibilities. He started the Soft Wash exterior cleaning company to specialize in washing roofs to rid them of black algae streaks. He expanded his services to washing houses, decks, and windows as time allowed. Jeff is hands-on and operates a soft wash truck with an assistant to provide safe, gentle, eco-friendly soft wash methods to remove moss, mold, and algae from roofs and houses. He has a residential and commercial client list and has also completed training to sanitize and disinfect exterior areas such as playgrounds using CDC recommended methods for both business and community spaces. Jeff has recently reached out to both Bridgewater and West Bridgewater, volunteering his services to sanitize community playgrounds and daycare centers to give back to the community that has supported him. In addition, Jeff has, for 2 years, volunteered South Shore Soft Wash to clean the exterior of the Animal Protection Center of Southeastern Massachusetts, which is located in Brockton. Jeff is a board member of the Bridgewater's chapter of Networking Group USA and is a member of the Metro South Chamber of Commerce, where he also promotes his Classic Selfies business. Please join me in congratulating our 2020 Small Business of the Year recipient, Jeff Newman of South Shore Soft Wash, LLC. Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Are you in your truck? Like, are you in your truck in between jobs? You are a workaholic, sir. Why don't you say a few words?
I am. I'm out in Rutland, so I'm praying that the signal on my cell phone maintains. It's been wishy-washy. The flag that you saw is actually mounted on top of my work truck. Old Glory is the first thing to go up when I arrive on the job and the last thing to come down before I wrap up for the day. I'm very proud of that flag, obviously, as we all are. It's an honor to be nominated, and I was thrilled and so appreciative of being selected for the Small Business of the Year for South Shore Soft Wash. There are a few people I would like to thank. Metro South Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Cooney, and your staff that has helped me out so much over the last couple of years being a member, Lexi, Emma, and Marcy. To the Bank of America, Mr. Aganetti, Mr. Clark, President of Bridgewater State University, and to Mayor Bob Sullivan, as well as, of course, my family and friends who have been supportive of me along this journey. Putting up with long days, 7-day weeks, it hasn't been easy and it's been very challenging, but it's been also very rewarding. And this award is definitely a culmination of those efforts, and thank you so much. I'm humbled to receive this award. I've worked hard to turn my dream into an implementation plan, to turn it into achievement of my goals with the help of my family and friends and good people like who are here on this Zoom call today. I think all of us have that entrepreneurial spirit, or else we wouldn't be here today in the positions that we're holding. And I think it's awesome. In closing, people talk about fear. What is fear to all of us? To me, fear is an emotion you can't touch, you can't feel it. It's something it's up here. And if you spell it out, F-E-A-R, fear is two choices when you have it. You can face everything or fear everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. I choose number two. I think all of us here have, as well as the Entrepreneurs of the Year as well. Congratulations to you. So it's really about taking the risk, believing in yourself, having a plan, and not fearing to implement that plan, even when things go wrong, to fall back, readjust, and just keep moving forward and believing in yourself and your dream. I would like to say that it's an honor to receive this award. And I think that it would be remiss of me if I didn't say that my heart and my soul and prayers, as all of us, go out to all the other small businesses across the United States during this tough time that's been explained with COVID-19. I know of friends of mine that their doors are closing. I know of business owners that are fear that they're going to have to close their door. And I really believe that organizations like the Metro South Chamber of Commerce on the state and local level, SBA on the national level, and others that are here are really the backbone of the support mechanisms, as well as the local banks that are in place to help small businesses get through this. And as far down as the local networking groups like Networking Group USA that I belong to, it's relying on each other, helping each other, supporting each other, and bringing, as our success grows, reaching around and bringing those people that are helping us along for it, whatever, to attain their goals, whether it's personal or professional. So on that, I will hold up the plaque. I do have it.
Right.
All right. Emma and Lexi were fantastic. Saying, Jeff, you got it. You got it. I got it. Here it is. I brought it on the job. It's an honor, and
Yes.
thank you so much. And it's just, I'm humbled. Thank you so much.
Jeff, that was terrific. And I think as we face this pandemic, I'm going to remember your acronym for FEAR, face everything and rise. Let that be the spirit of Brockton, Southeastern Mass, and of Massachusetts. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Chris, I don't know if we have any time for questions.
We don't at this time, but we do have some prizes.
Yes, we do have some prizes. Okay. So you get to be a game show host in addition to being the chair of the chamber here. So I get to give away some prizes. So we randomly select the door prize to one company to be highlighted in the upcoming action report. And this month it'll be Michael Tomasi. Congratulations, Michael. You'll be featured in the action report, which goes out to thousands and thousands of people. Emma Stratton will be in touch with you for next steps. The first door prize is a $50 gift card to Empower Nutrition. And the winner is Lynn Campbell. Congratulations, Lynn. And our second door prize is a $200 gift card to South Shore Soft Wash. That's hard to say, by the way, Jeff. That's the 10th time I had to say that. But the winner is Rob May. Congratulations, Rob. And the third door prize is a $50 gift card to Empower Nutrition. And that winner is Linda Sacchetti. Way to go, Linda. Again, Lexi will be in touch with the door prize winners. I want to thank all of you for your participation in today's program. Thank you, Mayor Sullivan. Thank you, Bank of America Small Business Services. Thank you, Awards Committee. Mr. Secretary, Mike Kennealy, thank you for being with us. Eli Spahue of SBA, the Enterprise, Wicked Local. Thank you all for your support. I hope everybody has a wonderful, relaxing, safe, long Memorial weekend. Remember those that the weekend is based upon and who we honor. So let's have one more round virtually of applause for our award recipients, Empower Nutrition and South Shore Soft Wash, LLC. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your support of the chamber and our community. And as I said, enjoy the day and the weekend. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.